Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange is the 2016 superhero comic book movie presented by Marvel, the second installment in the big, endless Marvel Cinematic Universe. It tells the story, is the origin story of where Doctor Strange came from, what became of him, how he became who he is, and it also introduces Marvel Cinematic Universe, which has mostly been technology based in pretty much every single movie, even Mutation and Aliens. But this was the first movie that had magic, sorcery, different dimensions. Well, we kind of will have dimensions when the Infinity Stones are around, and yet we don't know where the Infinity Stones came from, though, at least in the MCU. So, so it starts off in Nepal, where some sorcerer and his zealots enter the secret compound. I can't. I okay. You're telling me to pronounce these foreign names, and I cannot pronounce these foreign names for the life of me. I can't even pronounce the sorcerer's names correctly. So yeah, I'm just gonna call him the sorcerer and his zealots and the compound, and murdered the librarian in a. I couldn't believe that they somewhat showed it. They showed the shadows of it, but like I was like, wow, that was close to actually being shown. A decapitation and puts him in a jar, or I mean, in a pot, and who was the keeper of the ancient and mystical text. They steal a ritual from a book belonging to the Ancient One, a sorceress who has lived for an unknown amount of time and taught all at the compound, including him, in the ways of the mystic arts. The Ancient One pursues the traitors, but he escapes with the pages and some of his followers. Stephen Strange, or Dr. Stephen Strange, an acclaimed neurosurgeon, albeit arrogant, goes ahead and is really arrogant, but at the same time, you get the feeling he wants to save lives, like he actually cares and whatnot. And he saves this guy's life who has a bullet in his head. Like you would think, like, oh, all hope is lost. Like we can't save this guy. Like they save him. He managed to save him when other doctors were about to call in and say he's dead. So yeah, like albeit arrogant, at least he backs it up. And unlike some wrestlers on TV nowadays, Kevin Owens, the club, Bray Wyatt. But anyways, um, like he reminds me a lot of Tony Stark, and I think that was the idea. They wanted to get Tony Stark kind of style in Stephen Strange, so that makes me interested in what's gonna happen when he meets Tony Stark in Infinity War, because that would actually be awesome. Like the billionaire's playboy of technology versus pretty much the playboy of magic, of sorcery and magic. So one day when he's driving in his fast car, he looks at some some X-ray files, and I think they hinted at Warhammer's injury, who kind of lost, who got paralyzed in Civil War. I think they mentioned him when the call was happening. But when he gets into a car accident and loses the use of his hands in a pretty brutal fashion, and I don't know if it's because it was the movie theater or whatnot, but I noticed that a lot. I could tell what was CGI. I could tell the CGI, like I could logistically see it instead of thinking like that looks real. Like there were times I could tell, yeah, that's CGI because it feels so animated. Like it doesn't bother me because I was born during this time where CGI was the norm. It still technically is. So so like all this stuff happens in this car accident, and they try to save him, but he is mad that they kind of destroyed him because they don't know how to repair his hands. And his former lover and obvious love interest, who was seen early in the movie, and I'm like, they're going to get together. I already know it. I cannot wait. I'm so gripping, clinking my teeth together in hopes that they don't break. In hopes they get together. I really don't think they're gonna get together. Yeah. This is about as obvious as Sora and Kairi from Kingdom Hearts. You know they're in love with each other. You know they're gonna get together. You just want to know when, and then just get it over with. But I can tell, like some people are gonna say, but it's the journey, not the destination, and that's true. So, anyways, his lover, Christine Palmer, tries to help him move on, but Strange, believing he can regain the use of his hands, instead uses all his resources, his money, pursuing experimental surgeries in vain, and he lashes out on her, and, well, I was like, okay, when are they gonna get together? Okay, okay, goodbye. We'll see like halfway through the movie, most likely. Okay. So, anyways, Stephen Strange goes ahead and gets goes through physical therapy for a bit, and then he learns of someone named Jonathan Pangborn, who lost the use of his legs, and I think he got some form of paralysis, uh, param, I can't pronounce it, who cannot be able to walk again, who couldn't be able to. It was virtually impossible, and he was yet mysteriously able to walk again through unknown means. Much and while Stephen Strange doubt this statement, he was the therapist was like called him an arrogant ass, and I'm thinking like, okay, that was that. Okay, like Marvel tends to get their jokes good, right? So like, okay, like Stephen Strange, he threw in a good couple of jokes in. I just didn't know how many jokes it would be in the movie, including it the worst of timings. Okay, like there are jokes in this movie that are just not at the best of timings. So after learning about this, Strange seeks him out and is directed to the compound in Nepal. And there, Strange is taken in by another sorcerer under the Ancient One, Mordo. The Ancient One shows Strange her power, revealing the astral plane in another dimension, such as the mirror dimension. Strange begs her to teach him, and at first she throws him out after saying no. And then he's out there for 5 hours, and I'm thinking like, wait. I know this is not too far into the movie, but shouldn't police have been like there by now? Like I know this is like a different country and they probably operate differently. I've never left the U.S., so I can't tell if there's a system here or not. But I'm pretty certain staying at a place for 5 hours that's gonna make people question something about that. So she finally decides to bring him in, despite his arrogance, since it reminds her too much of the sorcerer or Callius. I think that's his name. I don't know. I can't pronounce it. Like prior to this video, I was trying my best to pronounce it. Like, okay, do I say it like this? Do I say it like that? Man, I'll just call him the sorcerer. Um, she uh, she at first is doubtful about this, and she agrees eventually. And how they bring him in, like first he looks like he's gonna give up and whatnot, like he's all disbelieving in all this. And when he showed her power, he was begging her to teach him. And when he looked like he was about to give up, leaning on the door suddenly opened, he falls in, and I'm like, oh, well, saw that coming. Like, no, like that joke doesn't work because everyone saw that coming. Like, I know, like a lot of people in the movie theater laughed at that. I was with my friend and Lean Deer, and he laughed a bit on this, I think, but then Morden brings him into this room and shows him this password, and like he says that's the Wi-Fi password. We're not savages. Okay, you got me back with the jokes. It was just so funny. Like it was spoiled to me in the trailer, but that wasn't really. But I can't really say it spoiled me because that was just a joke they did. But like it would have been better if I did not hear the joke at first. But it's too late. I saw the trailer. So Strange begins his tutelage under the Ancient One in Mordo and learns from the ancient books in the library, now presided over by Master Wong, who threatens him, I must add. And Strange learns that the Earth is protected from other dimensions by a spell formed by three buildings called sanctums found in New York. Okay, I hate to be the one to ask this, but wouldn't New York be the worst place to set up a building there since it's prone for disaster? Like the Chitauri invasion, whatever's going to happen with the defenders. No, you're not going to explain how that building even survived or if you rebuilt it? Okay. And then it's set in London, which I think is where the climax of Thor 2 Dark World happened, and Hong Kong, where they're relatively close by. And anyways, the task of the sorcerers is to protect the sanctums through Pangborn chose to forego this responsibility in favor of channeling mystical energy into walking again. So you can understand why he felt that way, why he didn't want to do this. But like, yeah, there has to be a price to pay. So Strange advances quickly over the next several months, even secretly reading from the text um, the sorcerer stole from and learning to bend time with the mystical eye of Amagamoto. Moldor and Wong warn Strange against breaking the laws of nature, comparing his arrogant yearning for power to that of the sorcerer, who believes, after the deaths of his loved ones, that everyone should have eternal life. Okay, like the characters tend to explain about the sorcerer's past, like instead of him talking about it, like he gives his motivation of what he plans to do, but he never explains why he felt that way. Like I was expecting when he was captured at first, to like somewhat break down, like show emotion besides this stoic, dead look in his face, which kind of frustrated me to an extent. So, so like I'm trying to wonder, how this is happening. Like, okay, I get he lost people he loved and he was looking for enlightenment, but yeah, there are a lot of problems regarding eternal life. Like, one, overpopulation, we gotta consider that. Endless war, most likely. More people wanting more power out of this. Because, let's be honest, if history has shown, power corrupts people absolutely. So, when this all happens, uh, the Ancient One doesn't know about this yet. I was expecting her to, like, maybe catch him, but I keep reminding myself, oh wait, this is not a Disney. This is not a straight up Disney movie where in the middle of the movie they do this. You betrayed me. How could you? You lied to me. And then we do this sad, boring, cliched stuff that really annoys me nowadays because it's been there for so many times, even in Pixar movies. So the sorcerer and his followers use the stolen pages to begin summoning the powerful Dormammu of the dark dimension where time does not exist and all can live forever. This destroys the London sanctum and sends Strange from the compound to the New York sanctum. The Zealots then attack there, where Strange holds them off with the mystical cloak of levitation until Mordor and the Ancient One arrive. And And during this battle, like it was intense. Like you saw a lot of the Inception styles going on and the Matrix style stuff. That was a complaint a lot of people had. Like you could change the name to Strangerix or Strangeception. I'll shut up now. And but like yeah, I could understand why people felt yeah, this is more along the lines of Inception or the Matrix. Like buildings are bending, things are going by waves, something you saw in the Matrix, something you saw in Inception. Like I'm pretty sure they borrowed influences from that or just straight up ripped them off, whatever your choice is. And then it's later revealed that during the battle where Strange actually captured him, a novice captured the sorcerer, and he explains why the Ancient One can't be trusted. And then Strange finds out that and tells Mordor and the Ancient One that that the sorcerer reveals that her long life has come from her own use of Dormaro's power, and while Mordor doesn't really believe it at first, and the Ancient One warns him, "Be careful what you say," and yeah, it doesn't look good for him. So yeah. So anyways, during a battle going on, that happens between the sorcerer and the Ancient One, they go ahead and fight, and the Ancient One is stabbed by him and escapes to Hong Kong. The Ancient One is taken to, well, before the, oh wait, let me, oh god, skipped a very important moment. During the battle with the Cloak of Levitation, Strange is able to escape where he gets stabbed, and he goes back to the hospital where he used to work at, and is helped by his obvious girlfriend, obvious love interest, to save his life. And yeah, some freaky astral plane things go down, which is awesome. And especially how Strange inadvertently liquefied someone's brain pretty much and killed him. Yeah, I'm just gonna say liquefied his brain because that's clearly what happened. Anyways, so when that happened, so after all that happened, Strange and Mordor take her to the hospital to get help, but instead the astral plane, Strange goes back to the astral plane and tries to convince the Ancient One to come back with him in order to help her, and the Ancient One tells Strange that he too will have to break the rules to balance Mordor's steadfast nature. She then dies despite the best efforts of Strange and a bewildered Palmer. Strange and Mordor have this conversation. Before that, like, okay, a series death just happened, and Strange goes ahead and pulls up the cape to look more cooler, and the cape just touches his cheeks, and I'm like, oh dear God, like, really? We just had a very serious moment here. Someone just died in the room next to you. So, yeah, that wasn't really much of a good idea. Like, there's some comedy scenes they do, moments in serious situations that kind of feel inappropriate at this time. So yeah, I didn't think that was a good idea. Okay, but anyways, after he dies, Strange and Mordor talk, and Mordor is his illusion. He's disillusioned by the Ancient One, and how he feels like all the teachings he's learned is pretty much pointless. But he agrees to help out. So they arrive to Hong Kong to find that Wong died in a battle against the sorcerer and his followers, and the sanctum is destroyed with the dark dimension already engulfing Earth. And I'm surprised they did not spring up like, now it's time to call the Avengers. Call the Avengers, and like, oh wait, that's right, that's a problem. Like, I was expecting someone to say call in the Avengers, and then like I'd be like, wow, that is just a bad idea. One, the Avengers are crippled at this point because of Zemo and the efforts of the Sokovia Accords. And I don't think the Sokovia Accords count to astral plane parallel dimensions. I think they only do with Earth, and Captain America really can't be seen in public, or his team, or his side of his team, because, well, like I said, they're kind of wanted fugitives, so if they get discovered, they're going to be hunted down. So, anyways, afterwards, Strange uses the eye to turn back time and save Wong before heading into the dark dimension after a battle with the sorcerer and his two remaining followers. He enters the dark dimension to encounter Domaru, and Domaru looks like he kills him, and then all of a sudden a loop happens, an infinite loop starts to happen inside the dark dimension that traps himself and Domaru in the same moment forever. And he keeps making the same statement, I've come to bargain. And it kind of got funny when the numerous times Domaru kept like smashing him, throwing stuff at him, killing him repeatedly. And I'm like, dude, this is not gonna work. This is just gonna piss you off even more. And Strange manages to convince him by agreeing to a deal to break the loop if Domaru leaves her forever, and the latter takes the sorcerer and his zealots with him, which happens in a pretty disturbing fashion. So Mordor is disgusted by Strange and the Ancient One's disregard for the consequences of defying nature, so he decides to depart. And Strange, in turn, decides to return the eye back to where it belonged after he took it, to which Wong calls it an Infinity Stone. And I'm like, well, hey, Thanos, we have an Infinity Stone right here. It's called the Eye. You might want to be interested in that. To the compound, and then takes up residence in the New York Sanctum to continue his studies. In a mid-credit scene, we get two credit scenes in the after the movie. One is Strange is visited there by Thor, who at first gives him tea and then turns it into alcohol or root beer or beer or ale as he likes to call it, I think. Who drinks it repeatedly since it just floods back in. He brought his brother Loki to Earth in search of his father Odin, and I'm thinking, wait, okay, I'm just gonna say, how does Loki like? Did Loki kill Odin or take him or imprison him? Like, we didn't see Loki in the mid credit scene, and I was really curious to know where was Loki in New York. Also, I don't think it would be a good idea to have him run around, considering people remember Loki, since, he tried to conquer the world and all that, and people would probably be freaking out. So Thor asks for Doctor Strange's help, and he says that he's going to help him, so expect him to be in Thor Ragnarok. So you got the Hulk, Loki, Thor, and Doctor Strange to help him in the search for Odin in the movie that is referred to as The Death of All Gods. So afterwards, we get a post-credit sequence, and when I first saw this scene, I was thinking, is this the Black Panther? Is this T'Charu? And then, no, it's Mordor. He's visiting Painborn, and he explains that he's disillusioned and whatnot, and how he feels like no one's listening to consequences. So he attacks Ping Pong and steals his energy he uses to walk, thus crippling him again. And he's there. He says what he's going to do next. He's saying that Earth has too many sorcerers, and the movie just ends. So, and I did not give a spoiler warning. So, yeah. Too late now. Though, considering I've spoiled previous movies before, I think this is best recommended. So, anyways, so now there's already confirmed to be a sequel in the works to do Doctor Strange 2. I really did like this movie. Like, I get the comedy was a little too much, turned up to 11 when it really should have not been, and and like I didn't like that. Like, when situations got really serious, they went ahead and deflated it a bit with comedy. The same problem I think kind of hindered the Force Awakens. Like at least they tried. Okay, at least when Han Solo died in Force Awakens, they at least go ahead and make it serious. If this was Marvel, they probably would insert some comedy joke, though probably not. And I like how they brung in all the magic, all the sorcery and whatnot. It felt like it really belonged in the Marvel Universe, and this was a world dominated mostly by technology. Like, magic and whatnot belonged to a different reality, to Thor's homeworld of Asgard and the seven guards. So now you have Strange. If Now, the reason I'm surprised people didn't react, like, okay, I know that there was the mirror dimension and all that, so I could get that. But what about the times when people managed to see them and managed to interact in a way to see them react to this. Like at first they look scared and whatnot, but I think part of them had that mentality of, oh, it's one of them. They're just trying to say, oh, it's either this bad guy's trying to do bad things and this guy's trying to save the world. Oh, it's one of them. They'll do the job for us. So yeah, I get the feeling like yeah, and I really loved how Benedict Cumberbatch played Stephen Strange. I thought he was perfect for the role, but I thought he did great in the role. Like I also, me and my friend Trayvon, Liam Deer, talked about this, and we were also thinking like Liam Neeson probably could be a good Doctor Strange. Like he kind of looks the part, but what we got from Benedict Cumberbatch, yeah, I'm glad they cast him. Like he reminds me a lot of Tony Stark because his arrogance and whatnot. But after a great traumatic incident and then later enlightenment in something on some big spiritual psychological journey, he goes ahead and becomes a better person because of it. And now he's a superhero, pretty much. And we really get to see his progress as the months go by. And like, there's a funny scene where Wong is reading a book, and Strange is going ahead and taking books from rooms, and much to Wong's frustration. And after Wong and Mordor and Strange pretty much saved the multiverse, um, Wong finally laughs, and I'm like, that was a subplot? Really? That was a subplot in the movie? Like, trying to make Wong laugh? Like, I don't think we're going to see him again, except in Doctor Strange 2 in Phase 4, like, 10 years from now, unless contracts happened. So, anyways, because of this is good. It really impacts the Infinity Stones and all that since they highlighted that. So basically, Thanos might try to contact the Dark Dimension, probably, or just go after it by himself, which is interesting. But I'm really curious as to know, like, how many more Infinity Stones are there? I thought there were only 5, and all 5 of them were all isolated in different locations by different heroes, or at least hidden somewhere by a collector. So I could just so we're going to see Strange in the move in Infinity War, so that's clearly obvious. And I'm trying to wonder, wait, how do you know that's an Infinity Stone? No, I want answers. How do you know that's an Infinity Stone? Those are space dimensional wajamajiggers, MacGuffins. So, how do you know that's an Infinity Stone? Like, did you hear about it? Like, did you like it? Has the Infinity Stone been around for centuries on Earth, or was they part of space, or was it like this or that? Like, I'm waiting for an explanation on that. Come on, man. So, anyways, I cannot wait. What's gonna happen next? Like compared to this, the Civil War, yeah, it's not the Civil War is still my personal favorite. But Doctor Strange as an origin story, like this, felt like it could stand it by itself. If this was a straight up standalone movie that was not part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, yeah, I think it could actually stand on its own. But I'm glad that they introduced this character to Marvel to the masses, and it really gives insight. And my friend loved it, thought it was great, and he had been waiting to see this character come to life in movies instead of animated. So that was awesome, and I was blown away by the visuals. Like this was visually stunning. If this was just a movie told through visuals, I would say it's a masterpiece. But no. But like I could tell, yeah, that's CGI. Like it's clearly obviously CGI. Like I could tell that's CGI. Like I know everything nowadays is CGI now. Like there's hardly practical effects being done except in Star Wars nowadays since it got rebooted. I just don't want to even say the word reboot for Star Wars. But anyways, the fact that these visuals were so great, but they were very noticeable and like yeah, they kind of look fake because it just felt animated. Like you could tell it was animated. So maybe they'll fix that up when before the Blu-ray comes out, but I highly doubt that. So, anyways, this film production really kind of had like a lot of people try to make this come to life like since the mid 1980s, but they keep going through rough patches, and I think it had to do with technology wise because of how powerful the effects are and whatnot. How his abilities have to be also helped by the effects, so they had to wait and to see this through. Like it could be done through animation, but live action, yeah, that was gonna be tough. That was gonna be quite the challenge. And then they tried to do a television film, Doctor Strange, in 1978. And then they did another one in 2007, an animated feature called Doctor Strange: The Sorcerer Supreme. So I'm glad that they managed to finally say, well, okay, let's bring in this character. Like, we could do something safe, but we're going to take somewhat of a risk and bring in new characters who've been overlooked by Marvel Studios, characters who've been overlooked and kind of forgotten in the annals of time. We're going to bring them fresh. We're going to bring them to life. We're going to bring them to the big screen. And that's a big positive I can give the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like they're bringing in these characters that people tend to a little bit forget about. Like you would think, oh, they're never gonna bring that in. That it doesn't fit, and they make it fit. So I give that a big positive, a big thumbs up, and I would personally recommend to see this movie. Like I said, it's not as great as Civil War, though. Civil War and but compared the two, yeah, that's kind of unfair. So, anyways, those are my thoughts on Doctor Strange, Marvel's Doctor Strange. This was Neo Reality Antenna. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to for more.